All right, what's up, shooters? Here's what we're doing today. Hit like and subscribe. Tell your friends. If you don't have any friends, go get friends, and then tell them that they need to watch this stuff. It's good stuff. So, had a budget optic that I bought, mid-10, gave it decent reviews, put it on a UTG Pro 3/4 inch riser for an absolute co-witness with my Magpul backup sights on the most recent AR build I did. And then I saw this other one and I'm like, you know what? I think this one looks nicer. It's a little nicer and it's a shake awake and some other things. You know, when you're looking at this one, it's a relatively small lens that you're looking through, which is okay. But then when you turn it on, granted, you're looking at through the lens here, so it's making it look blurry. But like, there's no way to put it on to just the setting you want. You either put it on, it's too low and you got to click it up several till you can start to see the dot, or you put it on the other one and at nighttime it's like glaringly bright. So I was like, well, let me get one of the push button ones. So I looked around and this one had great reviews. It's a Chinese company, I know, but so are your SIGs and some of the other ones you buy. They're made in China too. So is your iPhone you're watching this on. So it's a company called Votatu. Don't know what it means. Comes in a nice little case. They're around 70 bucks, 80 bucks, I don't know, something like that. I'll put a link. I'll hook you up with a link. Don't you worry. So what's it come with? Well, it comes with a nice little carry case. Oh, I cut my thumb earlier today. It's probably gonna start bleeding again. So we've got a scope and it's got one of those little mesh covery kind of things on the front. So we'll see how we like that. Got a little cloth here. A couple batteries, no name brands. It's okay, I'll use them for now. I've got some Duracells and Energizers. And it comes with flip up, which is kind of cool. So let's take a look at those. I'm not as worried about the anti-glare. I know some of the tactical guys are. I'm not as worried about that, so I'm probably going to pop that off. Oh, it screws right off. Nice. There we go. Let's see, does that just press on? Whatever. I will figure this out. Trying to do this without putting pressure on my thumb so it doesn't bleed more on camera. All right, we'll get into this. So here's what we've got. Push buttons on and off. It has an auto off feature and then you shake awake. Already I can see one thing that I like better. When you look at this, you see how the LED emitter, I'm not giving you guys the middle finger, that emitter sticks out in and takes up a little bit of your field of view. This really doesn't. So I like that right off the bat. It's nice clear glass. As far as the reticle you're looking through, or not the reticle, the what you're looking through, it says it's the same size, but it almost looks like this is a millimeter or two wider, your field of view. You can mount it directly to the rail, or it does come with a riser. So let's see what kind of riser we got here. It says it's for absolute co-witness, although I guess we'll find out if it's, maybe it is. So it looks like that's gonna go in like, no, hold on. All right, so that's got a rail up there. So I guess you can mount it either way. This will mount to the rail. This is gonna slide in. Something's not making sense to me. Oh, you got to take that base plate off. That's what it is. So there's a couple ways you can mount this. You can mount it like this directly to your rail, but that's going to be a little bit too low. This is an absolute co-witness. That'll put it too low. You can take this base off and put this base, which is very lightweight, very nice. You could put that one on, and then this would mount to your base. You just take those screws out, which looks like it came with a hex screw over here, so we can do that. And if you wanted, I could take this. So what I need to determine is that the same height as that? Looks like It is. So if I go ahead and mount this on that, that will be the same height. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take those screws out, mount that on, and we'll put on our flip-ups and all that stuff. In here somewhere is a hex wrench and additional screws and a manual to explain, you know, how to use it. Construction-wise, I mean, it feels good. It's all aluminum. Put a battery in there. Oh, it's already got one. All right, so let's see. Tighten that down. Power up. Yeah. Very cool. So you can turn that brightness down. Yeah, that actually, it's a nicer dot. It doesn't show up on camera that well. When you're looking through it, it's actually very crisp. And it's a brighter, it's a very much more crisp dot. When I look through the other one, when you turn up the brightness, it gets a little blurry and it looks oblong, almost like you've got astigmatism. But when I look at this, it doesn't have any of that. It's really nice. It's a much nicer dot. So what you can do here is you can turn it off. But if you leave it on, it'll dim over time, and then it'll just come back as soon as you pick it up. It's a shake awake. That's why I got this. So I don't have to dick around in the dark. And when you do turn it on, it comes on because it's digital. It remembers where you were. So with this, you have to turn the dial and crank it in the dark and kind of get it to where you want each time, and then remember to turn it off so your battery doesn't go dead. This one, for only a couple bucks more, lets you avoid that. So what we're going to do is cutting the end of your thumb is like one of the worst places. That and your fingertip, because there's nothing you do where you don't grab that you immediately press that open. I've got this paper towel I heated up an egg and cheese sandwich on, so I got cheese on that. I'm sure that's good to get in a cut. So what are we going to do? We are going to go and take this off. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on each of those screws. Try to do this left-handed. Of course, I would cut my finger literally right before I go and do this. Because why would anything go as planned? I gotta say, this is a nice looking scope. I like the fact that it's digital. I like the fact that it's a shake awake. I like the fact that it'll auto dim and do all that stuff to conserve battery. Came with a nice carry case. Came with, for the people who like getting rid of some of the glare, if you're the mall ninja type and you want that. I don't need it because I want to be able to see as well through it. And in low light, conditions, it'll kind of take away from that. All right, so I gave all these spare screws, but I'm just going to reuse the ones that we've already got here. Got some blue Loctite. So question is, looks like we've got this set up to go this way. So that's that way, and then this cants back. I like it. Yeah, seems pretty good. All right, so all I gotta do is put a little drop. Blue Loctite, don't use red. I've made that mistake a couple times over the years. You use red and then you're like, oh, I need to move that. And the next thing you know, you're stripping screws or stripping the head of your Allen wrench. So don't do it. You don't need it. A little bit of blue. You don't need gobs of it. You just need enough to stop it. You're not trying to keep it from turning out, by pressing on it with a screwdriver or an Allen wrench or something. You just don't want it to come out on its own from recoil. And this will probably be the hardest part, is getting the goddamn screws down in there. Just put in a couple just to hold it in place. So that's what it's going to look like on the gun. I think it's more aesthetically pleasing. These things always just kind of look dorky to me. I think that's going to look pretty good. So, yeah, I like that a lot. I like the digital controls. I like the shake awake. That's going to be a nice addition. So I'll have to do some shooting, but so far it appears very well made. It's got the stop block in there so that it'll not move under recoil. It should lock in really nice. It's got a good sized torque screw. We'll put blue Loctite on that. It's light. Tiny bit lighter than that one. And having the auto off feature and just being a little more sleek and good looking, I think that's going to be a nice addition. So we'll do a shooting review of it, but out of the box so far, I'm not going to make you watch me sitting here dicking around with putting in set screws and stuff. But I think it's going to be a nice little addition here to the collection. I just built that new PSA lightweight build. And so this should be, I think, almost ideal for that. Like I said, the only part of this that's tricky is going to be sitting here trying to get the screws all down, especially into the holes towards the back. Well, you got a bleeding thumb. Not helping matters. So we'll snug them just a wee bit. Keep everything centered. It's a nice enough looking little optic. Yeah, all right. So now again, as I'm putting pressure, my thumb is starting to bleed again, so YouTube will probably ding me for showing blood or gore or something like that, say it's inappropriate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down. I'm just going to go ahead and install this to the rifle, and then we'll do another review one day at the range with it. But I'll put a link to this one. This has gotten great reviews. The adjustments are supposed to be really easy. Take your caps off your turrets, which screws quite away. And look, unlike a lot of the ones that make you guess, you can actually see an arrow and it tells you which direction's up. Oh, and you don't need a screwdriver because it's built into the cap. This is a nice design. I don't know if they're copying someone else's design, but it's a nice little scope. And having flip-up sights instead of these rubber goofy ones that the other one comes, never a big fan of those either. I really like the idea of snapping these on, and that's just going to be a matter of me sitting here and just pressing them on, and then having those flip up. That's really cool. And it's a fraction of the weight. You know, I've got a Vortex Strike Fire 2, which is a great optic, but it's $200 and it weighs like 9 ounces. It's more than half a pound. This little guy is less than half the weight of that, so very cool. Anyway, that's just a quick overview of this little one. It's the model VRD501 or something like that. Made in China, but it seems to be a pretty well-made little optic. All right, folks, we'll talk to you later.